Hello everyone, welcome to Startup Academy. So, in this lecture, we shall be talking about the most important topic that you can expect in your upcoming examinations. This question can be the part of your current affair topic, or could also come in your geography part. So, further in the lecture, I shall be telling you how it can be the part of your geography or why is it important for your current affair topic. So, for today, you can write it down as your US, Israel, Iran war. Or today we shall be discussing about the Middle Asia relationship and why there is so much of chaos in Middle Asia and how that can impact Indian economy. So this could be the question you can expect in your upcoming examination. So before actually moving on to the topic, there's an announcement to make that we are launching our Lakshya Batch 2027, which will be starting from 15th July, and there are limited seats, so it is advisable for you all to enroll yourself, and for any further details you can contact on our given number. Coming on to the actual topic for today, what we are discussing over here is US, Israel, Iran war. Like Middle Asia. In Middle Asia or Middle East of the continent, there's so much of chaos that is going on, and because of that chaos, there is a rise of upcoming World War III that people are expecting, or people are thinking that things might change, and things might also change because of this particular war, as this war is being intensified on both the side, like from the side of the Israel as well, and US of course, and from the side of Iran as well. Why are people, or why are I would say, the government or the administrative policies of both the countries involved in the war are intensifying the situations on both the sides? Why is it happening? Why is it so? So, in order to understand that, let's go to the previous section. I know most of you must be aware of why the war is going on. So, let us go into the brief of the topic. Why is the war happening, or what were the sources or the reasons that Israel and Iran went into a war. So before that, we have a certain sort of history. So in order to discuss the history, what we can say is that Iran and Israel, Iran and Israel shared a friendly relationship. They were not very hostile against each other. So there were friendly relationship among themselves, like between these two countries, before 1949. The situation was very fine before 1949, but after that, what happened was Iran, before 1949, we can say that Iran was a secular state, and since the state was secular, under the I would say the administrationship or the government or the political leadership of Shah Pahlavi. So this was the situation of the state. That means it was a secular state. But after 1949, and also one more important factor, that Iran was the one that recognized Israel. But after that, what happened was there occurred Iranian revolution, and because of this revolution, the state actually changed from the secular one to the Islamic state. And there were the leaders that could rule the country, or the state like this, like the Iranian state, and the leader, that is the most profound leader, was Khomeini. He was the leader, and he could be known as the supreme leader. Because why supreme? because all the powers, including the administrative power, the military campaigns, the regiments, and every other sector or the political power and every other military power were under the leadership. And whose leadership? That was the leadership of Khamenei. Also, one more thing is that this state from the secular state turned into the Islamic state and also the theocracy state. Theocracy is the state, or I would say the situation where the rulers are where the rulers actually belong to the religious community. So the religious people, or the people who are seem to have the religious faith in certain sort of religion, so they rule the country. That is why the state actually changed from the secular state to the Islamic state, and hence was known as the hierarchy. So this was the whole situation. Now, because of the Khamenei being the leader, he said that we will not be recognizing Israel as a state. So the recognition that was once achieved from the Iran itself, that was giving the, I would say, the power or the friendly relationship between these two communities, now has been taken back from the Israel, because Iran said that we do not recognize this state. So hence certain things are taking place. Also, one more thing, we have a map. Say here we can say that here it is our Arabian Sea. Here we have Iran. Between Iran we have we can say we have Saudi Arabia. We have UAE over this side, Caspian Sea. We have Uzbekistan. We have Tajikistan over here. These places are here. And here we have Saudi Arabia. We have Yemen, Oman, and these two countries are also here. So now what is happening? The basic situation is was that the previous one, the one that we have just discussed, that is the Iranian Revolution. Now what is happening is that Iran is waging war against Israel. We all know that Iran is waging war against Israel, and there are so many warships going on. They are destructing so many warships. Sorry, the US and Israel together are destructing so many warships of Iran. Now, what is happening is that Iran is also waging war by intensifying its military attacks on what? On the Gulf countries. Like which Gulf countries? It is attacking the various Gulf countries such as UAE along with Saudi Arabia. These two are the major countries that Iran is attacking as its military reinforcements. And what is there between these two Gulf countries? There is a strait known as Strait of Hormuz. This Strait of Hormuz is actually responsible for the trading of various substances, also including the oil. That is a major factor. So, approximately 25% of the world's crude oil or the oil manufacturing or the oil trading occurs from Strait of Hormuz. What will happen when Iran will rage or intensify its war incites? What will happen? This Strait of Hormuz will be affected. And when this Strait of Hormuz will be affected, obviously it has already attacked the crude oil ships and also various other importments and every other sectors of of Israel, due to which there will be a time when the Strait of Hormuz will also be affected, due to which the whole country or the whole world, not the country actually, the whole Asia and the whole world will have to face the problem, because it is the site from where the trading actually happens. The 25% of the crude oil and other all other manufacturing countries, or I would say the oil trading actually happens via the Strait of Hormuz. And once the attacking starts on this side as well, or the war intensifies on this place as well, the things will lead to destruction. So, in this lecture, we shall be discussing about what all could be the impacts and how this particular thing has impacted our site. So, coming on to the topic, I hope this up till here everything is clear. So, coming on to the topic, we have Indian economy and the impact. The first thing that Indian economy shows its impact is that on the oil prices and the energy security. The government has launched Essential Commodity Act or Essential Commodities Act. It was, I believe, in 1955. The act belongs to. So what happens in this particular act is that the commodities, including the oil, shall be divided into the four tiers. The tier 1 shall be receiving the 100% of the oil that it was actually receiving, and tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 would be receiving approximately 75% to the 80%. And this percentage will be varying according to the 6 months, previously 6 months consumption of the people regarding it. So the tier 1 basically consists of, I would say, the domestic usage, and the tier 2 is your for I would say the manufacturing, and tier 3 is for industrial, and tier 4 goes for the trading purposes. So this is how the distribution has been taking place, and this is how the government is tackling certain situations, due to which what we can say is that there is oil prices and energy security. Coming back to our thing, so that was for the I would say the butane, the propane that we are receiving in our household. So that was basically for that purposes that the essential commodities have been included. So it was included in the list of the essential commodities. And also this essential commodity act, that was previously used during the time of the pandemic. So there also there were lists that were maintained by the government, so that the people could not rise, or the retailers, the manufacturers, the, I would say, the publishers, they could not envisage a price up to that position that people could not afford it. So that is why the government from our side, it forces an act that is known as Essential Commodity Act. So the first thing that we have over here is that oil prices and the energy security. Obviously, the basic thing that we have just discussed about the Strait of Hormuz also, from Strait of Hormuz also we have discussed is that oil prices gonna rise because the wars are being attacked. Iran is attacking. Iran is raging war on the Gulfing sites or the Gulfing countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, by destroying their crude oil and the storage houses of the oil. So that is why there should be a rise in price and in consumption of the oil as well. So what we have here is that we have 80 to 90% of the crude oil requirements which are vulnerable to global oil shocks, because most of our things that are working on is basically nothing but our oil system only. The another thing is that Gulf of Hormuz is crucial and critical checkpoint, choke point actually, through which 20% of the global oil supply passes. Any disruption due to war leads to a spike in crude oil prices, often exceeding $100 per barrel. So this is how that particular thing gonna impact when Iran would wage war against Israel and USA by attacking their Gulfing sites. Gulfing sites include your UAE and Saudi Arabia. And also they had launched missiles on Bahrain, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia's, I would say, Dubai, and so on. So these were also the basic things. Then we have the inflation and the cost of living. Inflation is the rise in price that you will see and that we have actually seen. So what is it? Higher fuel prices increases transportation, electricity, and production cost. So that is why you would see that the mishappening, the disruption in the country is because of that war situation in our country, or the not the war situation in our country, but actually the war situation in the world. Food inflation rises due to higher logistics and fertilizer costs. Obviously, the fertilizer costs are there. So, tier 2, that refers to tier 2 that was receiving, I would say, the 75% of the actual product that they have already consumed in the previously 6 months. Essential commodities become expensive, affecting common household. The RBI faces pressure to control inflation through monetary policies. Then we have the rupee depreciation and forex pressure. Forex pressure refers to the exchanging pressure. Like we need to exchange goods, we need to do trading because our country needs to have those, I would say, the fuel system, or I would say the source, in order the factories, the industries, the manufacturers need the source in order to produce their goods. And where are those sources coming from? They're coming from the other countries. Since the war is going on, the trading system has been blocked and it has been choked from certain sides, due to which the income of certain goods is quite less as compared to the previous one, whereas the demand is as usual high because of the high population. Then we have the trade and the supply chain disruption. The Middle East is facing so much of problem middle. Therefore, war increases shipping risk, insurance cost, freight charges, supply chains of fertilizer, petrochemicals, and metals get disrupted. This lead to shortages and increase in production cost. Now, another thing is sectoral impact. Sectoral impact says that the aviation would be there, manufacturing input cost would be more, because getting all those sources from the outside, that is in terms of the exchange and the foreign exchange matter or the trading system also, they are also affecting us. Then we have the agriculture and the power sector, that is LNG shortages. Again, Hamas was responsible for 25 percentage of world's total exchange of LNG. So attack on that Strait of Hormuz from Iran, or either from Israel or USA as well, in order to save Saudi Arabia or UAE or Yemen and all these places, Kuwait and etc. So that can also affect the LNG disruptions. Then we have the stock market. The war has created global uncertainty, reducing investor confidence. Foreign investors withdraw funds, causing stock market volatility. Sensex and Nifty may decline in short term. So that is what the things are happening. So this you can mark it as important. Then we have the fiscal impact. Fiscal impact refers to the impact, that is the taxes, the impayment, and the enforcement of the taxes from the sides of the government. So that could also be seen, that is the government may need to cut fuel taxes or increase the subsidies. This increase fiscal deficit and puts pressure on the public finances. So this is how the whole thing is changing and how economy of India is being impacted. Another thing is GDP growth impact. Then we have remittances and Indian diaspora, that is millions of Indian workers in Gulf countries. Diaspora refers to the people's movement, like people moving from one place to another. See, we have a large population, like we can say the highest population in the world is Indian population. So people are going from Indian subcontinent to another parts to other parts of the world in order to work over there. People also go from our country to the Gulf countries as well in order to work from there. Like most of the people work in I would say, what do we call that? Most of the people work in other countries like okay, Saudi Arabia. So that is also the basic thing that people are doing. So going towards the Gulf country was nothing new, but since the war has started in 2018 and the things have become terrible, therefore the diaspora have also been impacted by the war situation. Then we have the long term strategic effects, that is Indian dependence on the imported energy. We are totally dependent, like 85 to 90% dependency of Indian population um, on the goods that were, I would say, being imported. So that is the basic thing that gonna impact us in the upcoming future. Another thing is that encourages diversification of the oil resources, promotes renewable. This is how we can promote renewable sources of energy, and this question can directly be asked in your geography chapter as well. Sorry, geography questions or geography section as well. So from there also it could be like registered. Another question could be registered and things could be asked in that manner. So therefore they can ask you the renewable sources of energy and their relevance, their importance, that we have already covered. You can go and see that lecture. It You will find it on the YouTube channel itself of our channel, of course. And I guess there is a playlist, so you can check that out in our playlist of geography. Then we have strengthens need for strategic reserves and energy security. Now, what are the steps? These were the things that were being faced, of course. What are the steps that are actually taken by the government in order to enforce or in order to let the country keep on moving or let have no impact of economy on the country's side? So let's see those impacts. The first impact that was shared with you all was that only the Essential Commodity Act that was launched by the government. So that was the one thing. Another thing that we have over here is that we have diversification of crude oil imports from countries like USA, Russia, and African nations. What if Iran, Israel are not able to support us? We have other countries, so we have diverted our sources. Another thing is that development of strategic petroleum reserves. The government of India says that it's okay if we are not having that much of import of particular thing in our country. We already have reserves and we can use those reserves. What will happen when the reserves will die, will come to an end, because the population is so high that people can use it in a blink. So what will happen to that? So that has also been to be taken care of. The promotion of renewable energy, including the solar and the wind power, like the latest in news is the wind or the turbine system that is being used uh, regularly by the public. Then we have ethanol blending program to reduce dependence on the crude oil system, adjustment of excise duty taxes on fuel to control prices. So that was the fiscal impact that we have already seen. Strengthening the diplomatic ties with Middle Eastern countries for energy security, that has to be done. Promotion of electric vehicles to reduce the fuel consumption. Fuel consumption, like you can say, the petroleum is being very it is quite pricey these days, but the government has tried to control the price by launching Essential Commodity Act. Then we have RBI monetary policies to control inflation and stabilize the economy. The stabilization in the economy is quite important. Therefore, there are so many funds being relieved, and in the previous fund, there was the 50,000 crore rupees that could be launched in order to control, in order to stabilize the economy. But that amount has been changed to 1 crore, so that has to be taken care of. Then we have the investment in the domestic energy exploration and production and the focus on green hydrogen alternative fuels for long-term sustainability. So because of the sustainability, renewable resources, energy being used continuously, so those things could also be taken care of with respect to your geography, and rest of the things with respect to your current affair. So two topics have been prepared. You can expect either in you can expect them in either ways. So this was all for today. Thank you and keep watching.